Hi, welcome. I want to start tonight by telling you a story about a friend I had growing up named Artie. Artie and I lived in the same neighborhood and went to the same elementary school, although I never saw Artie in any of my classes. Artie was assigned to the 3R classroom, which was supposedly for students struggling with reading, writing, and arithmetic. I never knew Artie to have problems with any of those subject areas, so it didn't quite fit. He did speak his mind, and some teachers perceived the way in which he expressed his opinions to be aggressive. Because of that perceived aggression, Artie was suspended quite a lot throughout elementary school, which continued into middle school and high school. Because of the number of suspensions, Artie was always behind and continually placed in low-level academic classes. When Artie was in 10th grade, he dropped out, telling me that he just didn't see the point. He wasn't doing work that was preparing him for college, so he might as well get out now and start making some money. But without a high school diploma, Artie was only able to find very low-paying jobs. When he turned 18, Artie's parents said that he had to get out of the house because he wasn't in school. Artie soon found those low-paying jobs weren't enough to pay rent or put food in the fridge. Artie started selling small amounts of drugs to supplement his income, and eventually he was caught doing a significant amount of time. When he was released with that first felony conviction, he found that even the low-paying jobs were very hard to come by. So eventually, he saw more illegal activity as his only means of surviving, which started the cycle of Artie being in and out of jail. Artie is African American, and his story is all too common for many of our African American students across the nation. Every year, the suspension statistics stay the same or increase, and more of our nation's children are finding themselves trapped in the school-to-prison pipeline. I am here to inform you of this very real problem for many of our African American students. Besides growing up and going to school with many kids like Artie, I have also seen this playing out in the schools I have worked in for the past decade as an educational professional. Wikipedia defines the school-to-prison pipeline as the widespread pattern in the United States of pushing students, especially those who are already at a disadvantage, out of school and into the criminal justice system. A New York Times article showed that in K-12 schools across the nation, black students made up only 18% of those enrolled, but accounted for 46% of those suspended more than once, and 39% of all expulsions. The U.S. Department of Education reported that regardless of socioeconomic background, African American students are 3 times as likely to be suspended from school than their Caucasian peers. In high school, the suspension rates stay the same, and we see a high number of African Americans dropping out. A study by the Schott Foundation for Public Education said 52% of black males graduated in 4 years. That compared with 78% of white non-Latino students. Those African American males who have had significant suspensions and make it to graduation have had significantly less classroom instruction time and are graduating with fewer skills than their white peers. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics had the unemployment rate for African Americans at 15.8%, which was the highest among all races. In part because of that disproportionately large percentage of African Americans eventually land in jail for low-level offenses. 2010 census has African Americans, including those of Hispanic descent, accounting for 13.6% of the entire U.S. population. The U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics has African Americans not of Hispanic descent accounting for 39.4% of the total jail population. Responsibility for this cannot be laid solely on these individuals or their families. The numbers are too great for that. Our nation's teachers and the education system as a whole need to accept their share of the responsibility by looking at how we deal with African American students in our classrooms and in the district. What do we need to do as citizens, parents, educators, and educational leaders to change the story for all the artists that are coming up in our schools today and in the future? I would argue that we need to do a better job of getting to know our students so that we can lay the presumptions and assumptions to rest. If one teacher would have taken the time to listen and get to know Artie like I knew him, they would have seen his potential and done their job in getting him to see it for himself. If one teacher could have done that, I am certain Artie would not be in a federal penitentiary. Thank you.